It's a brand new day. I'm so glad you're here. Hi, my name is Jill, and we are walking on Survival Road. Today is a Friday catch-up video. If you're new, it's where I just generally talk about stuff that's happened during the week, talk directly to you. And so if you don't follow along, you're more than welcome to start. And with that, one of the big questions that I've gotten through email is, what exactly are you going to be, what social media platforms would you be moving to, and how do I know when you're going to do that? So just let me say, right now I'm kind of in the evaluation process of what options. I, like many of you, don't really like social media. I have a Twitter account and I hardly ever post on it. So I don't have Facebook, and I don't really do anything other than just email people or be on YouTube. So that's part of my failure through building this process over the last few years, was to not get more distributed. But a lot of that has to do with just the technical limitations, because I have a really old phone, so I can't do any of the app kind of stuff. So that's something I'm looking at. I'm going to have to probably figure out how to upgrade to a different phone, trying to look for one that I can afford, that works, and that isn't going to break me month to month, because right now I am on the super cheap plan. And I don't really talk on the phone, so it's not that much. I don't use it that much. So with that, the ones that I'm looking at is Vimeo. For those of you who asked about that, no, I have no videos up there. They have a very small, tiny amount of space for free people. I actually don't like their free stuff because I have a slow internet, and if you do too, it tends to stop and reload, so it's not a smooth viewing experience. But I have noticed when it's a pay item, so if you pay to watch something on it, it streams much more consistently. So I think what they do is they put that on a different set of servers. And so the purpose of Vimeo would really be, I think, when I want to start moving towards a longer format. I think that's one of my personal goals. These little videos are kind of frustrating because I can't cover too much. The problem with the longer videos is, again, I don't have the technology to support that. So I'm trying to figure out how I can kind of jerry-rig that until I can upgrade in a way that I can more consistently upload longer videos. So that's what Vimeo will be for. The Twitter, that's just another one of those ones where they stalk you and prevent you from doing stuff. So it's more of a news kind of format for people, and I don't like digging through people's feeds just looking for their basic information. So if I do anything with that, it won't be probably very much. And the other one I'm looking at is Gab, and a lot of people won't like that because it's sort of evolved into a version of Twitter that's super conservative and super right-wing. But what they're doing that I like, and this is why I'm considering putting some kind of platform, is they have a pretty reasonable pro account, which is only $7 a month in my price range. And you can have a page where your videos are, so you don't have to stream through all of the posts. You can just go to that one page and see where the videos are. Very similar to what YouTube has. And they have a live streaming format. So I'm looking at that one as a place to do short stuff and more spontaneous stuff. Again, one of the reasons I don't do Patreon is because Patreon actually sits on the YouTube platform. So in addition to doing some kind of censorship, they also, if you don't have your YouTube account, you don't have your video account. And I know that people sent me a lot of other video platforms, and one of the problems is it's extremely time consuming. Like, one video can take me anywhere from 3 to 6 hours to upload, and that means I can't really use my computer at that time. So it's very unrealistic for me to post sitting in this particular setting, to post videos to multiple formats, because my computer would be running all the time, and it's coming up on summer, and that's a whole separate issue. So those are some of the issues with the other platforms. I haven't made any decisions. What you can do if you want to keep updated, at some point over at survivalroad.net, I have a contact just a newsletter. Just put your email in there. That's the only information. And we'll do some kind of probably newsletter eventually at some point. Again, those things are all extra. All this stuff online, there's very little that's free. Most of it has a monthly or yearly cost to it. I, as you know, do things as cheaply as possible. So I have a lot of limitations on what I can do. And so those are the things I'm looking at, what are realistic for me, how I can transition. But, you know, one of the mistakes I have made, I will say, along in this process is I did not do a lot of outreach. I won't do Facebook. I will never do Facebook. And it looks like soon Facebook may not even be an option. But I have a personal reason to not do Facebook, and I really don't like their policies, and they've evolved to a place where they don't even put your posts out, so it doesn't even matter if you have followers. They don't send your posts to anybody. So I will never be on Facebook. So that's just my bottom line with those. But I didn't choose to engage, and here we are. So I'm at a point now where I have to make a decision whether I want to contract or expand, and I know I need to expand or I will go extinct. So I am looking at all those pieces right now. Another question that came up in the comments that I wanted to address was, why don't you just get a job? Like, how many times has somebody said that to me, or have I thought about that? And I think about that all the time, and I always do extra work when it comes up. So it's just that I live in a very tiny place, and I think I've exhausted everything in this tiny place that's available for somebody like me to do. And the reality is if I was to get a job, I would have to physically move, which would drastically increase my cost of living, and would probably be full-time, and that means I wouldn't have the time or energy to do any of this other stuff. And for right now, I still believe there's value in this, and I'm going to keep pursuing it until it becomes pretty clear that I can't. So that's sort of my bottom line on the job. I know that it would be the practical thing to do, but I think what most of you are getting as you're getting older here is that at what point do we stop doing what we should do and then really try to live from our heart or live from a place where we don't feel like we're suffocating. And, you know, having been in the system for a very long time, it's not like I've been skating. I did my time. So, you know, I'm not hurting anybody, and I'm not taking advantage of anybody. And so if I want to live like this in the dirt, I think that is my right to do that. And I'm never complaining about the way I live. My only frustration is in relationship to my ability to do this kind of stuff, because the rest of the world is has requirements. Personally, I do just fine. What do you think, Freedom? It's loud, isn't it? Is it loud enough for you? Is it loud enough for you? I hate this one. I enjoyed the hailstorm we had, and then the pond is getting rebuilt. Although I got to tell you, it was good to actually get a little bit of winter. I was sorry to see that it evaporated. So, but little bits of green are coming up. So hopefully we'll get some grass and we'll get back into more of a spring mode. But that's going to be kind of a wrap up here today on our Survival Road chat. We didn't do a breath at the beginning. We can do one now. So we're going to take one good deep breath as I hope you'll rise with the sun in your eyes, love in your heart, and yes, be brave. Feet firmly on the ground, because we are walking on Survival Road one step at a time. So with that, I want you to stay human, live free, die wild, and we'll see you next time.